Greetings all, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the Cheap Lounge. Episode number 23, I think we're up to. By the way, in case you were wondering, how many episodes are there in a season? What is that about? Today, television series have between 10 and 13 episodes normally as a season. But since we're covering mood music, easy listening, and back in the day, in the 70s, a television series in the earlier days was typically between 20 and 26 episodes. So Cheap Lounge will have 25 episodes per season. That's what I decided. So, and we're up to number 23 on the first season, season 1 of Cheap Lounge. So let's talk about the records this week that I have. These dollar bin easy listening lounge records that I uploaded onto my radio station, Moody Mood Music. That's online. You can listen 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's linked below. Let's get started. First up today is a German artist, although this is an American album. This artist, I think, was pretty, had a good career in Germany. Not very well known in the States, and I guess MGM picked up one of his recordings or a compilation of stuff of his from Europe and released it in the States to see how it would do. Apparently it didn't do that great because they never did another one, although he had plenty of material. But I love it, and I love this record, and I was not familiar with him. It's the Blue Trumpet of Roy Etzel. This album, called The Silence or Il Silenzio, was an international hit. I don't even remember initially who the initial hit had with it, but many people covered it. And also what I love about this album is that there are only a couple of standards, and most of the songs are songs I've never heard of before, either original compositions or just much lesser known songs. So I always enjoy that when they do, it's not always the same tired old songs over and over again. I mean, we love the standards, but I love when people do lesser known material. And the arrangements and whatnot, I love this album. It is very European, easy listening sounding. It has that sort of James Last or Bert Kaempfert sort of feel to it that is, I think, just kind of marks it as a more European sound. This record was released in 1965, and as I believe I said, Roy Etzel was German, born and raised and lived his life in Germany. Up next, another instrumental album that I really, really enjoyed this week was yet another artist from Europe, not well known in the States, an orchestra leader, song composer. He composed over 500, I think it was. Over 500 songs and over 200 scores for television and films in Europe. But again, virtually unknown, unheard of in America. And in fact, this record that I have is not an American record. It's a Polydor from the UK, and that is a Spanish orchestra leader called, I don't know if I'm saying this right, really, Augusto Alguero or Augusto Alguero, I'm not sure. This album, Hey Jude, it's from 1960-something, 1968. Love the cover and love the arrangements. This is a very groovy record. Like, I do have one other one from him that I uploaded quite a long time ago. And so this is the second album that I have from him. Very impressed. I love it. Super groovy. You can almost like go-go dance to some of it. It's the hot whatever. I love it. Hey Jude is the album. Augusto Alguero, or Alguero, I'm not sure. Plus, if he was working in England, they probably said it some weird other way too, anyway, right? Like English, Spanish, whatever. I'm having my coffee, second cup of coffee. This third album is a mix of instrumental and vocal. Now, I don't know the date on this, pretty obviously the 70s at some point, probably early 70s. But this album would actually have been a freebie or sent to you when you got a boxed set of records from the Longines Symphonette Society. Certain members of the vinyl community are very familiar with the Longines Symphonette Society. I'm kind of one of them. I love them. My grandfather had tons of sets. He used to get them. They were like mail order only. You couldn't buy them in the store. So you ordered the set. Mostly all of them were very well done, easy listening and semi-classical stuff. And they would also send you a freebie, usually a freebie album with it that was free to keep if you wanted to return the set and not keep it, but you could keep that record that had like extra stuff, usually by the same people the set was from generally. Anyway, this one, I'm not sure which one this came with, but this is definitely one of their freebie albums. Longines Symphonette Society presents Academy Award Hit Parade. And I just want to say, before I say anything else, I am loving the cover art. I'm living for and loving the cover art. This record is and there's great art on the back as well. Particularly like Zippity Doodah and Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe, because you don't really hear those songs a lot and these days, and they're kind of cute. So cute record, I like it.
Oh, hello there. I'm just sitting over here with my friend. We're enjoying margaritas here at the Cheap Lounge. Why don't you come and join us? We're grooving to the sounds of Moody Mood Music, the online radio station that plays all the groovy old lounge records nobody plays anymore. Just order up a happy hour drink and come over and have a seat. And tune in to Moody Mood Music on live365.com. The link is below in the description. Would you like salt?
Here's a really nice record, 1963, from Nashville-style pianist Floyd Cramer. Swing along with Floyd Cramer. I was particularly interested on this album to hear his take on Swingin' Safari, a Burt Kempfert song. Really interesting rendition. Great album. So Les and Larry Elgart had their own dance bands, but they sometimes recorded together. They were brothers. As in this album, The Sound of the Times from 1966, featuring some groovy, again, dance type of arrangements of popular tunes of the day. So Mitch Miller and the gang had released many, many albums, as we see here on the back of this particular one, the one we uploaded this week, Nighttime Sing Along with Mitch. This is from 1962, kind of a mixed bag. It's pretty upbeat overall for being a nighttime sing-along, but I suppose they'd, you know, run out of titles at this point. So in addition to several printed lyric sheets, it came with this coolest thing ever, little brochure, how to find your favorite sing-along song on Columbia Records. So you'd look up the title, and it would tell you which of the many Mitch Miller albums you needed to buy to get that song. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of budget label releases finally today. The first one is on the label called, I'm not sure if I say this right, Evan. I don't know if it's Evan or Yvonne, but there were several very budget labels in the 50s, 40s, 50s, maybe into the 60s, I don't know, that were kind of run by the same person, more or less. Different labels, different names, so they would like be exchanging their recordings that they had access to or they had the rights to back and forth between them. This would definitely be one of them. It's the Fontaine Sisters Sing plus Paul Payne Plays Waltzes. Separately, they're not performing together. There's 4 songs by the Fontaine Sisters and 5 songs by, it's actually an orchestra, Paul Payne, but it's a full orchestra. Very nice recordings, probably, who knows who, I don't know if Paul Payne was a real person or if that's just, you know, a pseudonym or it's some sort of European orchestra that recorded these things, but very nice waltzes. The Fontaine Sisters, originally from Milford, New Jersey. They originally started out with 2 of the sisters and their brother, Frank, and their last name is Ross, actually, and they were known as the Ross Trio. They started performing around the area. World War II happened. Frank, their brother, went into the service and did not make it out. He was mortally wounded. After that, the 3rd sister was finishing up school, so they became Bee, Marge, and Jerry, the 3 sisters, and they decided, I guess, that Ross was not really that marketable or interesting or exotic of a name for them, so they took the name of their great-grandmother, who was French-Canadian, which was Fontaine, and they became the Fontaine Sisters that had, you know, moderate success through the 40s and sometime into the 50s. They had several pop hits. They were in the top 40 quite a number of times, mostly in the, you know, number 30 to number 11 range for the most part. They did have a couple of big hits, but mostly in that range. I should say, they really became better known when they performed with Perry Como. They were on his television show several times. They also did some supper club appearances with Perry Como and other supper club appearances, and then that's when they really became more popular and picked up with Dot or Decca or somebody. Anyway, they got onto the major labels where they had most of their hits. They did retire in the later part of the 50s when rock and roll was becoming a big thing, and they did not want to go that direction. I mean, they were still plenty young enough to keep on recording for a long time, but they didn't want to go in that direction of rock and roll, and they could see the handwriting on the wall. That's what you were going to have to do. And they just retired. One of the sisters, Marge, was a radio personality for many years on a popular station in Minneapolis, St. Paul. The other 2 sisters just retired into private life. They did not perform again. They agreed with Dot Records to come back in the 60s at some point to re-record an album of their popular songs, new versions of them, which they agreed to do, but before they agreed to do it, it was made very clear that there was going to be they were not going to perform live or, you know, anywhere. Like, they were just going to do this, cut this record for Dot, and that was it. There would be no performing or promoting or anything or appearing for them. No, they agreed to do the album, and that was it. And this particular, what's interesting about this one is there are 4 songs by the Fontaine Sisters, these first 4 songs listed. And what I found out researching them a little bit for this video actually was that those 4 songs are actually their first 4 songs they recorded, or first 2 45 RPM singles that had a song on each side. These are those first 2 singles that they did with Music Core, which was kind of budgety label. That's their first stuff. So being the budget labels, you will find if you see a budget label record that mentions the Fontaine Sisters being on it, it's probably going to be these 4 songs, or one of these 4 songs, or whatever, because that's apparently what they had access to, the budget label. So that's what they would use, true to the budget label style, like, you know, re-release it 500 times on 500 different records, and, you know, like Meet the Girls, and it'll have like 1 song by the Fontaine Sisters, one of these, or, you know, the Fontaine Sisters and, you know, whoever playing the piano, somebody else, you know, that's how they did it. So
somebody said that someone saw you out last night. Somebody said that someone held you awfully tight. Somebody was mistaken, for it can't be right. It couldn't be true, it couldn't be true, or could it?
this album, I should say, is in beautiful condition, and it's very brittle. Some of these early budget labels, super brittle, so I'm always impressed that they ever not only make it this far in good condition, but that they actually even make it without being cracked, because they're very easy to crack. One would suspect, because the record is in such good condition, whoever owned it probably had one owner. They probably got it and played it and thought, I don't like it, and it sat there never being played, and that's why it came to me so beautiful. And we can enjoy it now in the 21st century. Finally, another budget label, very interesting. I could say a lot about this record, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to do super long videos. But 18 Top Hits. This is from Waldorf budget label. Okay, so what happened like in the 50s a lot, through the 50s, it got a little harder once rock became popular, but through the 50s, there were various budget labels that would do sound-alike versions of the pop hits of the day, both kind of the more rock ones and some of the adult, easy listening songs that were very popular. They would do cover versions sound alike. So they did try to sound as much as possible like the original recording. Usually you'll find those records on 45s with like 2 or 3 songs on each side, and they would release it as like, you know, 6 top hits or 4 top hits for 25 cents or whatever. Like, it was much cheaper than buying the original 45 of whoever's music it was. And then these were sound-alike versions. If you weren't, you know, super attentive, you might not even know the difference. So, like, it was fine. It's unusual to find one like this size. This is a 12-inch LP. And also what's unusual about it is somehow it got through the factory process with this generic label that they would have had, 18 Top Hits. And they would have used this for many, because they probably recorded these albums like every, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. They were constantly putting them out during this time period of the latest hits. So it would have the titles of the songs on it, so you would know what you were getting, because here you have no clue what you're getting, right? No idea. There's no listing anywhere except on the label. So somehow it got through the factory without being printed, the printing going on it, because it should have had this, either the song titles here or the song titles here, and maybe like the date that it was recorded, whatever. Those should have been on here. So somehow this one got through. And I actually have 3 of these, 2 with this label and 1 with a different label. Interesting stuff, these records. I will say their version, they do cover Great Balls of Fire and Peggy Sue on this particular one. And those covers I don't think are very good. But a lot of the other ones are great, and there's some nice instrumental music, some sort of easy listening-ish type hits. that we uploaded onto Moody Mood Music. Absolutely. So this record, nice musically, you know, for some of the things, and just interesting in terms of history as well. This is budget label record history. I love the this one. The only way I knew is I think this is the date, January of 1958, right there. I think it's the date.
The object of my affection can change my complexion from white to rosy red. Anytime she holds my hand and tells me that she's mine.
Why don't they understand? Why lead us by the hand? Why don't they understand?
And interestingly, there are not 18 songs on this record. There are 24 songs on this record. So it's an anomaly on many levels. I don't know. 18 top hits featuring 24 songs. There you have it. Love this record. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any of these records, any experiences with this, comments, love for you to leave comments down below. It's always great to hear from people. And don't forget, you can tune into my radio stations. They're all going to be linked down below if you want to hear selections from these records and many hundreds of other easy listening records. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.